Hello, welcome back to Mage's Magical Library. I'm Catherine. I know I haven't uploaded anything since I did my bookshelf tour like a month and a half ago. I'm working on a reading vlog and it's gonna be called My Life is a Mess and I'm also in a reading slump because you'll never guess. My life is a mess and I'm in a reading slump. Just between like work and then I had to move a month earlier than I expected to. So like work, a sudden move, I had my convocation, so I have a degree, yay, and everything. I've just hardly had time to do anything. And then I read like 3 huge books that I did not like back to back, which just like put me straight into a reading slump. So I've lost all interest in doing anything. And yeah, it's kind of a mess all around. I do hope to upload, like I have a bunch of like vlog footage where there's like some shots of books in there. So I hope to maybe upload that as just like a little lifestyle vlog. But anyways, you are here to listen to Catherine, not to Yapthryn. So you get cozy and I will get into the quarterly review. So of all the books that I said I would read last quarter, that I wanted to read in this quarter, I read one of them. It was The Emperor's Tomb by Joseph Roth. I really liked that book, actually. It was a phenomenal piece about like what you lose in war. So it follows our main character, Franz, and it follows the start of the First World War all the way through and then ends at just before the beginning of the Second. And it follows like Franz was a man of high social status. He had a lot of money, and it shows his kind of like fall from grace, I guess, and his slowly coming to understand like what's actually valuable in life. Like it wasn't his status, it wasn't the money, it was his family and his friends. But then we also watch as he slowly loses that throughout war as well. And it was a great commentary on how war like irrevocably changes us. One of the main kind of concepts that Franz kind of brings up in like the very end of the book is his understanding that like nothing is ever going to be the same as it was pre-war. Everything is entirely different, and we are never ever going to be, we're never going to live, we're never going to think, and we're never going to be the same way as we were before this war. And I thought it was a really interesting book. I did really like it, even though it was for a class and I kind of sped through it, but I thought that was actually a really phenomenal book. So like I said, unfortunately these past 3 months I had kind of a bad batch of a bunch of books all at once, but I'll start with the positives. So I read the first volume of Blame, or Blom, however it's pronounced. It's this manga, and the concept is we follow this guy on his journey to find this certain gene. But why I started reading it is because it has my favorite visual trope of like a never-ending world kind of thing, if that makes sense. This is like a never-ending enclosed world. And it's got really cool sci-fi visuals. I think it's really interesting. It's not something I've ever seen before or that I've like read in manga before, so I was really interested to start it. I haven't read the other ones yet because I'm trying to find them online because they're impossible to find anywhere. Oh my goodness. But I read the first one and I really liked it. Another book that I did end up quite enjoying, it wasn't quite a 5-star, but I read The Adventures of Amina al-Sarafi, which is an Islamic-inspired pirate fantasy. I thought that was a really fun book. This was probably one of the first fantasy books I've read in a long time where like it's an older woman who's our protagonist. She's in her 40s. Amina al-Sarafi is in her 40s, and she's going on like one last big adventure. I thought it was great. I think philosophically, I think there's a lot to talk about within like family structure and, you know, what you want in life, and kind of her coming to terms with the fact that maybe she hasn't been the best friend to people that cared about her. I don't know. I really liked it. I thought it was fun. I loved the world building. I loved the fantasy elements in it. I love reading non-Western inspired fantasy. Also never read an Islamic inspired fantasy. Like not even like not just strictly Arabian, but like an Islamic specifically inspired fantasy. I really liked it. Going on to, unfortunately, the only 5-star I read over these past 3 months was A Brief History of the Middle Ages. It's like a commoner or people's history of the Middle Ages. It was very easy to digest and all of the information was in bite-sized pieces. I do wish that some things were elaborated a little more, but ultimately it is like a survey of medieval England. I can't ask for too much. I really liked it because I learned a lot and like it was just highly enjoyable to read. And so I think that was my only 5-star of the last 3 months. For the less interesting ones, I also read a few books that were like 3 stars, which I don't really talk about because they were fine. I read, as one of my biggest disappointments, unfortunately, I read The Will of the Many by James Islington. I was recommended this by a really good friend of mine. They said, like, based on some of the books that we share in common that we really like, I would really like The Will of the Many. It didn't give for me. It wasn't giving. It didn't deliver. I really wanted to like it, but I feel like I was reading and reading and reading and nothing happened. And it felt like this was like 650 pages. So it was like 650 pages of, can we get to the point? And we never did. I thought the characters were really flat. Even like the world building in itself was trying to be complex, but wasn't delivering like good complexity that left me super curious. And then I just feel like it was supposed to be like an ancient Roman setting with like sci-fi elements. I feel like it wasn't melded together well enough for me to actually really like it. So I was really disappointed by that one. I also read Onyx Storm by Rebecca Yarros. I got to borrow a friend's copy to read. Now, I really enjoyed Fourth Wing, and even Iron Flame, like, I didn't hate that much. But like Onyx Storm, this was another like 600-page book of just like, can we get to the point? I feel like the issues that I had with the characters, the story building that I could look past in the first 2 books, I like really couldn't ignore in the third one. I feel like nobody knows where this story is going. I'm confused where the story is going. Someone on Goodreads says, the potential is chasing Rebecca Yarros, but she is faster. I feel like it was a little confusing, or maybe I'm just slow, but it just didn't really give kind of like the magic and the love of the first 2 books. I did appreciate that we got to see a little bit more of the world and kind of understand a little bit more how the magic system works. And I'm gonna read the next one because like, what was that ending? Hello, I need to know what happens after that because that came out of left field. What the hell? But yeah. So of books that I'm reading right now, I'm still reading The Count of Monte Cristo. I'm about halfway through. Yay, 600 out of the 1300. And don't get me wrong, I'm liking it, but the fact that I'm already in a reading slump, and that like usually if I'm on books for too long, it puts me in a reading slump. I've been reading this for like months and months and months, and I get it. It's like a 1300-page book, but it just like, it's just felt like a slog lately to get through, and I'm like uninspired with it and all this. And I am also reading Ladies in Waiting from Anne Somerset. It's a history of ladies in waiting in England from the Tudors to the present day. I really wanted to like this, but I'm not liking it. I feel like I'm not really learning too much. I don't think that this is something I'm particularly interested in. So I'm on the fence about DNFing it. I'm about 66 pages out of like 300. So we'll see. And the thing is, like, it's a lot of like dense text throughout the whole book with the pictures in the middle. So I don't know. That's what's tough about being in a reading slump, is like, I just am not interested in doing anything. And also, like, I'm moving right now. I just almost like cleared out my shelves. There's like 3 books on there right now, and I have to ship those off soon anyways. So like, I don't know, I've just like not felt very inspired. I want to get into for the next 3 months. I just got word that my Lord of the Rings special watercolor illustrated editions have made it safely to the destination. So I'm really hoping that over the next 3 months to read that series. I really want to do like I spend the rest of the summer outside, and so I really want to get to read all 3 of those books, like in the woods, in the fields, outside, with some tea, some pie, you know, really good. I have obviously like the rest of the books on my shelf that I want to read before my like major move. So I'm doing a cross-country move. I'm like in the middle of a cross-country move right now, and then I'm moving continents at the end of the year. A girlie's busy. So obviously I have the rest of the books on my shelf that I kind of want to start, you know, like powering through over the next few months. As a graduation gift, one of my dad's coworkers is actually a self-published author, so I was gifted a signed copy of one of his books. It's called The Ninth Force Bar by Oliver Diamond. So this is like a high fantasy as well. So I'm actually really excited to get to this. I know this is gonna be a very short quarterly review. A girlie's busy, and a girlie is reading bad books. It's just like a shame. I've just not really had interest in reading. I've had interest, but I've not had the motivation, and then every time that I'm like picking one of the books up that I'm reading, I don't like it. So then I put it down, and then I'm not reading. So yeah, once the move is over and I'm like reestablished, I'm hoping like once all the mess is over, I'm hoping to be able to get back into it. I honestly don't really know what my plan is right now. Yeah, anyways, let me know in the comments what you're currently reading right now or what you are hoping to read within the next quarter. And yeah, thanks for tuning in.